யாரு எந்த மாமா? இவங்களா? ராஜன் மாமாவா?
Sorry about that, guys. Looks like one of our traders forgot to mute themselves. Um, all right, yeah, looks like everyone can hear me. I haven't heard any complaints about audio just yet. So let me know if you guys can't hear me. Um, all right. So again, slower morning for me. Just kind of got to my desk. Kind of had to run some errands this morning, so I didn't quite see the drop there coming. What I'm gonna do right now is just kind of look at the top net impacts. Looks like our indexes and our mag sevens are mostly red. So mostly red mag sevens and mostly red indexes. Um, so obviously avoid long calls. Um, so mostly red. Mostly red mag 7 here. We're seeing some negative volume on the overall market tide. Obviously, because SPY, QQQ, Tesla are all down. Apple, um, net volume at negative 471, 400K. That's pretty decent. My only thing is that I don't want to see a repeat of what happened yesterday. Let's look at some. Let's look at some notable flow alerts. See if we can get an intraday flow alert here. Oracle. So Oracle call options are coming in. Um, Oracle looks good, guys. Oracle looks like it wants to bounce off of that 175 area. Let me see if I can send that over in the chat. So I'm down on my EL calls. Not sure if anyone got in on that. Mm. So net calls are hitting a low, new low of the day. Um, why does my page look like that? They must have changed it. That's weird. So there we go. So it's over here now. That's weird. They keep changing like the layout. So what's SPY doing right now? You know what? I'm gonna do 3 minute. That's what I told myself I'd do today. Okay, so guys, those alerts that you're hearing, those are gonna be alerts. Hey, SPX looks like it wants to bounce off of this level here at 7100. So be careful if you're in shorts. If you're in shorts, just be careful because it is on that EMA. So just be careful. We are seeing that net call premiums are falling though. Net put premiums are remaining elevated. So just be careful. So um, I'm gonna just be patient a bit with net volume kind of being still, not really moving too much at 400k, negative 450k. I want to see like for bearish, I really like to see like maybe 500. You know, once it hits like 500, 600, that's when I believe that the net bearish options volume is truly overwhelming. Right now, it is over my threshold though. Like I'm definitely not gonna long. So stay out of longs, right? Like stay out of longs, but because it's negative 450k net volume. At the same time, I don't think I'd really want to short yet. Ooh, looks like it's accelerating to 500k. Yeah. So it looks like maybe this was a retest of that EMA, and we might just be in a downtrend. The only thing is, guys, I typically like to see net call premium outpace price. If so, in other words, if net calls are above price, I don't really like that because what that means is that price is dropping further, right? Price is dropping at a faster rate than traders are positioning for that drop. So if traders were positioning for that drop at a faster rate than price was falling, then I think that is something that I typically like that setup. So to the downside, I typically like to see net call premium outpacing price. So right now, since net call premium is still above price, I'm not gonna short the SPY just yet. It could fall. I'm not saying it can't fall, but as far as just my strategy and just my kind of trading, and how I actually take entries, if I miss the fall due to like news or something, and I'm not seeing that traders are accelerating that drop, then I'm just gonna stay out because that would be me trying to like catch a falling, or not catch a falling knife, but to catch that price action that's already fallen, right? So right now I'm just staying out. If you're just joining, this is sort of like my setup right here. I do have Periscope available here where I kind of do, try to refresh it every once in a while, kind of see what's happening here. We do have some support, just a little bit at 7,100, which is why price, like it was when it was falling, right? Price rebounded to that 7,100 level or that 700 level, right? And that's because, well, yeah, actually 7,100. That's because of that positive gamma here, guys. This positive gamma at 7,100 is just gonna keep price, like price is gonna want to fight for that positive gamma, right? Because positive gamma is a sign of high liquidity. That's what it ultimately uh, that's the ultimate outcome of positive gamma, right? You're gonna hear a lot of jargon. You're gonna hear a lot of vocabulary like, oh, dealers are hedged and they sell and they buy and all this. Yeah, I know all that too, and like we can talk about it in depth. But I am not a market maker. The end result of long gamma is high liquidity. So if you can think about it like that, when there's high liquidity here, that means that price is going to stay either pinned or it's even going to use it as a trampoline to try to climb higher to the next level of liquidity, which is 7110. So right now, even though we saw that price fell, and check it out, it fell from a level of negative gamma, right, which is the 7130. So it fell from that level, but when it fell, it didn't just fall all the way and just keep falling, right, to like 600. It caught the next level of positive gamma. That's the next level of support, higher liquidity. Low liquidity, high liquidity. Negative gamma is low liquidity, positive gamma is high liquidity. So when there's positive gamma at the level that price is trading, for instance, right now at 7,100, if you're in puts, I would get out. Okay. So if there's positive gamma where where price is trading, like right now, price is trading at 7,100, right? There's positive gamma there. So price is going to stay pinned in that area. It's gonna flag, or it's gonna, try and bounce up and down. Sort of like how it's doing. It's done that the last 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? These are 5 minute candles. So when I get those alerts, guys, right? When I get those alerts, what I'm looking for, if I'm trading SPY, is I'm looking for the market tide alerts, like these right here, if you can see my screen. These will let me know if there have been notable sells, like decreases, or notable buys, like increases, in the 5, 10, or 15-minute market tide, net call premium, and net put premium. I have put that in the Discord, right? You guys get those alerts. Right? You guys get those alerts. And what I'm looking for with those market tide alerts, guys, in the Discord, what I'm looking for is changes of 100% or more. You see how here it has calls and puts, right? So CCC, PPP. It has calls for 5 minutes, calls for 10 minutes, and calls for 15 minutes. What you want to look for is calls for 5 minutes. If you see any changes, like here it says 57% increase, if that said 100% increase in calls and puts had a decrease, then that would mean that I could go long, right? 100% increase. Now, if it was the other way around, if puts had a 100% increase and calls had a 57% decrease, then that means that I would go long puts, right? So that's what I look for when I kind of peek at these alerts here. And again, I built it into the Discord so that way you guys can have that available. So right now, again, oh, looks like price is moving. Let's take a look and see. Now, the next the next real support, right? Like the next real support, like this 7100 level just flipped negative. Oh no, no it didn't. I'm sorry. So this is 7095. So but the 7100 level just decreased in positive gamma. It decreased, right? So that's why you're seeing price falling right now. Now the next real support is 7070. That is the real next support for SPX. So should I short it to 7070? Um, looks like this gamma here is increasing. Let me see. This gamma is increasing. Let's take a look at the 0 DTE tide. How about that, right? So when you're not sure, you want to go ahead. Yeah, it looks like call. You see how call premium is outpacing price here, guys? Oh my gosh, man! If I was here earlier, guys, we would have banked on this trade right here because, oh man, I had to leave the house. But here, what you're seeing is a divergence, clean divergence, where puts are being bought and calls are being sold. We could have entered right about here and caught that price to premium gap to the downside. It looks like there's a price to premium gap to the downside that's happening right now. But what I would like to really see is some higher volume, guys. It looks like maybe we could short SPY right now. Oh my gosh! All right, let me take a close look here. Looks like we can short it here. Looks like zero DTE. So I'm looking at SPY just because it's cheaper, guys. So if you're trading actually live with me, SPY at the money 706 puts are 94 cents. I'm gonna go ahead and grab one right now and just see if I can scalp anything to the downside. SPY 706 puts 94 cents. Zero DTE. Let me see if I can send that in. SPY 706 puts at 93. Did I get filled at 93? Yeah, I got filled at 93. And the reason why I'm in this is that price to premium gap on the zero DTE. It looks like it rejected that EMA right here, and it looks like it is wanting to test that 70.85 level. Um, so hopefully we can get that pushed down there. See profit, take profit. There's the price to premium gap manifesting right before your eyes. It looks like you see how price was up here and net calls was still dropping. Looks like our trade is in profit. Let me take a look. 16%, guys. See profit, take profit. 20%, guys. 20% here. We're at 112. It's now at 112. See profit, take profit based off of your sizing, guys. It looks like we did get a nice push. Hopefully we can get a nicer push down to 70.70. Ooh, there it is right there. Wow, beautiful. Beautiful. Price to premium gap just manifested right before our eyes. We see that price is up here about 30 minutes ago or so, but net calls hit a new low. That right there is the gap, right? The gap between price and premium. Hence the price to premium gap, because price will always catch up with premium. That is a theory that I went ahead and coined, and using unusual whales. Shout out to unusual whales. But this is great, guys. 20%. I'm gonna go ahead and scale some out here because it looks like we're having trouble pushing a little bit lower. So I'm gonna go ahead and scale some out. I only bought one contract. Oh, no. All right, I'm gonna just sell. I only bought one contract. I'm gonna just sell. Just take profit. See if I can get filled. Okay. Yeah, looks like I got filled. 17%, not bad, but it was a trade worth taking, and that's the point, right? It was a teachable trade, and that's what we were able to do. So took profits on that. That was pretty good. Um, Hopefully you were able to catch that. Um, but it overall does look like a bearish day here at the moment. Let's check out Periscope. Now there's still a lot of negative gamma here, right? I'm looking at Periscope and all the way down to 70.75. It could push that low. We would need a little bit more volume on the zero DTE. Right now we're at what are we at? We're at negative 130. What's market tide? Maybe 500K. There it is, right? There's that 500K mark that I talked about for market tide, because I believe that once it hits 500K, guys, we could push to maybe. This sounds crazy, but maybe a million, guys. I think it could push to a million. Spy's hitting a new low of the day right now, perhaps. I believe it looks like on unusual whales, it wants to hit that, but the trading view. I don't pay for trading view, guys. Um, so I feel like trading view is like slow sometimes, but unusual whales is where I look at everything. But what I would really like to see though is more net call premium on the overall market tide being sold. If we can see that, I believe that SPX will hit that new low of 70.70, which is the next support on the Periscope, right? Next support of gamma 70.75. Sorry. Hopefully, you guys were able to catch that. That was even a really late reaction, if you will, because we did see that happen in real time. What do you think of RBRK? I have looked at that, and those kinds of stocks like the RGTIs and the RBRKs, kind of like, I don't know, those stocks are here. Let's see, RBRK rubric. Oh yeah, so that's a good spot actually. So checking it out now. Um, so here's how I would analyze this, right? The first thing I would do is obviously net flow, like like the trader, our member said there, Outlaw. Shout out to Outlaw. So, but then what I would do is I would expand to the 2 day, right? Let's check. Let's take a quick peek on SPY real quick. And it's still kind of chopping. And you know what? You know why it's chopping is because it's fighting for the 7100 positive gamma here, right? But notice this 7100 has decreased a bit. So if this negative gamma continues to increase like it is at 7090, price could accelerate down to that, down really, if you will, and then get caught at that 70 75. But if these two positive gamma sticks up here continue to kind of stabilize price, then price could have a hard time just accelerating further down here. So I wouldn't be in puts here, guys. We did take that live trade, and I took it was a small trade, guys, but it was the fundamentals of it, and I wanted you guys to really understand how to use these tools. And so I did record that session as well, so hopefully we're able to kind of look back on it and see what we saw there. Okay, so that's good. For now, I'm not in any spy trade. I'm gonna look at what Outlaw was asking about, so you guys can also put in ticker requests, I think is what they call them. I'm new at this, guys. So, yeah, put in some ticker requests. RBRK, let's look at that. I think SPY is going to chop for a bit here. Now, I'm going to teach you guys something really, really cool one of these days. And that is the fact that price will bounce or reject off of premium. Ooh, that was too deep for you guys, huh? You guys probably didn't catch that. Price on the on the net flow chart, price will bounce or react off of premium. So in other words, here you see at 8 a.m. there was a price to premium gap. Price was up here, premium was down here. Price caught down to premium. Once it caught down to premium, right, it bounced off of that premium. In the same manner down here, that trade that we just took, once price caught up to premium, right? We watched that happen live. It caught up to premium, and boom, a bounce happened. That's something that I'm going to go over later. But let's go ahead and check out RBRK for Outlaw. Now, this, how I would look at this is like this. Okay, here we have a lot of net positive volume for RBRK, right? RBRK has a lot of net positive volume today, but it is also up like quite a while, quite a lot since early April, and it's up on not that much volume. So is this an outstanding net volume? Yes, it is. But it looks like it's like a it looks like it's like a group of, or let me say it like this. It looks like it's a temporary volume. In other words, it's not being carried out throughout the day. Like when you look at like zero DTE spy and it's, or like maybe market tide, right? And it's like, oh, like the volume, there's like big volume either on a trendy day, it's all green like during the whole day. Here for RBRK, if the entire day was all green, then I think that would really be much more convincing. But let's look at it further, right? So I would go to the 30-day and then I just kind of check out like, okay, yeah, this is definitely this is definitely notable though. So for this one, what I would do is I would just go and look at the chart too. See if the chart looks good, right? RBRK. Yeah, the chart looks decent. The chart looks decent. It looks like it wants to come off of this and at least reach for like 59, maybe 60 over the 100-day EMA here on the daily chart. So I think this is a good. I think this is. If I had to rate this setup, I would rate it like a C. You know what I mean? Like a C, like maybe C or C plus. probably C plus because like it does look really good on the chart. The only thing I'm worried about is the participation of the volume. The volume has to be like all day. Oh, it looks like it's like all day. Shit. Well, looks like it just started at like like an hour ago or something, right? So if this continues all day, then like yeah, I would say it's good. Let's see, 19,000. Wow, this is very very notable. This is very very notable. 1.8 mil. What do they do? Technology. 18,000 contracts, guys, opened on a new position, and they're pretty cheap. Outlaw, do you want to? Yeah, I don't know if you're free, but if you want to come on here and say something, let me know. It looks really really good. Uh, if you want to take like 30 seconds and add some input, just let me know in the chat. But yeah, this looks really good. I would probably bump it up to a B plus probably. The only the only reason why is because I've never traded it, and I'm looking at the volume in the past, and I'm like, why is it barely traded? And why are they? Well, yeah, you can see here when they bought last time they had volume like this, it went on a crazy run. So they got even double of that volume today. Yeah, this might be a top watch, Outlaw. This might be like really really good. Like yeah, we probably should even buy one contract because it's like very cheap. So I'll add this to like my flow channel. Hopefully I don't forget. Let's check out Periscope. Ooh, we got that liquidation. Who held? Did anybody hold? Wow, that was beautiful. Let's get that next support there at 70.75. Did anybody hold? Oh my gosh. Nobody held, huh? Damn. Damn. EL flow. EL is still a good entry. I would still do it. I'm down on that. Yeah, they sold puts. That's good. Yeah, I'm gonna hold EL. They sold puts. That's good entry for sure. Yeah, for sure. That's good. Wow, did anybody hold that? What are those contracts at? Damn. Yeah, it's probably still at just 20% actually, because it looks like it sold right around the same price that I sold at. Oh, well, it looks like it's at the same price that. Well, now it's running. Oh shit! Now it's running, guys. Wow, pretty cool. Wait, why is my SPX not? Is it just me, or is my SPX like not loading right now? Yeah, I don't know what's up with my. I don't know if it's just me, but yeah, that was good. That was good. I think the next support is 70.75. But yeah, rubric. Let's keep that in our back pocket. I'm so glad you guys are here. Hopefully, you guys can participate. A little bit more and understand how the server works. Yeah, so Outlaw, it looks really really good. I would say B plus setup. No, it looks good though. It looks really really good. Um, so guys, if you're just joining, we did catch that trade live using Periscope, Zero DTE, and Market Tide. It was even a late trade, right? Like we entered late. If we would have entered like right here, that would have been such a nice ride down. Um, why am I echoing? Oh. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. Hopefully, I want you guys want like I really really want you guys to. Hopefully, you guys made some money on that. But yeah, if you're just joining, guys, we made a really really good trade about 15 minutes ago, or maybe 10 minutes ago or so. What we did was we looked at Periscope first, saw that negative or positive gamma was decreasing a little bit here, and negative gamma was where price was. We knew that positive gamma was going to fight for that 7100 level, but we knew that positive gamma was decreasing at that level as well, as you can see here. So once positive gamma continued to decrease at that level, price struggled and fell. And when it fell, we anticipated that the next level of support, because of all this negative gamma here at 90, 85, 80, the next level of support was positive gamma at 75. And we didn't quite get there, but I think with positive gamma decreasing at 7100, I believe that if this positive gamma at 7100 decreases and continues to decrease and even flips negative, then I think price can accelerate further down into 75. I think 70 75 could be a really really good target if this positive gamma at 7100 continues to decrease, and it is. Oh no, it looks like it just increased. It just shifted. It looks like it just increased. So I don't know. This negative gamma did increase as well, though. So 70 90 negative gamma increased a lot. So this price could push lower here, guys. Watch it. Price could push lower here. Okay, so if you're if you're still in a trade, or if you're whatever, like price could push lower here, guys, because negative gamma increased here, right? It got worse, if you will, right? It got bigger. The negative gamma got bigger here. Now, this positive gamma got bigger also at 7100, but let's check out market tide. Okay, net calls have stalled, right? Net calls have stalled. So price is going to bounce off of net calls here. So be careful. Oh, there it is. I just said it. I just said it, right? Price is going to bounce off of net calls here. So be careful. Wow, that was so A plus, guys. That was perfect. That was exactly what I was looking at. I looked just in time because I wasn't quite sure, right? When I looked at Periscope, I was like, okay, is it going to fight for the 7100 positive gamma that also increased? And I wasn't sure. The next point of data that you check is 0 DTE. There it is. There's that bounce, big bounce. That is another theory. That is another theory that I have coined myself. Price will bounce off of net calls, be it a resistance if price is going up, or be it a support if price is coming down. Once the price to premium gap manifests, right, where price either drops to the level at which net calls are trading at on the y-axis, right? Once it drops to that level and price and premium become, they close that gap. You see this gap right here? Once price closes that gap, price will bounce off of that premium. So here, when I looked at price being so close to that premium, that gap is closed. There's no gap there. And so price is either going to bounce off of premium, especially look, when you are, especially when premium is not outpacing price. Guys, this is A plus important stuff that I'm teaching you secrets on how to actually read this net flow. When you want a bearish setup, right? When you want an A plus setup, you want to see that premium, be it a positive net call premium for bullish or a negative net call premium for bearish with a complement of positive net put premium. You want to see net calls outpacing price, whether it's up or down. I'm going to say that again. When you are reading the net flow and you want an A plus setup, you want to see net calls outpacing price. Why? Because that forms a price to premium gap. So this morning, right, once net calls started outpacing price to the downside, right, they're accelerating calls, it's outpacing price. Net calls is falling faster than price is falling, right? That creates a gap. And once that gap closes, right? Once price catches up to premium and premium stalls its acceleration to the downside, so it doesn't accelerate any further, price will bounce off of that premium. This is to the downside, right? To the upside, if premium is outpacing price and price catches up to that premium, price will reject that premium. It'll act as a resistance. These are secrets that I am telling you that took me months to figure out, guys. And I have coined this, theory, this reformed way of looking at the market, and it has worked every single time, guys. So you want to see premium outpacing price because what that means is traders are positioning faster. You see, when premium is outpacing price like it was here between 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 8 a.m., right? And we had that big flush. That's because premium, their traders are selling calls faster than price is reacting. That is the price to premium gap right there, guys. That is the key. That is the key to an A plus setup. We're not talking about scalping, candlesticks or anything. We're talking about A plus setups where you're using a reformed theology to see that price is moving in the way that it is moving because of et cetera, et cetera. Right? So here you have the net trading activity has stalled. You see, net calls has stalled, right? So it's not accelerating further. And so because it's not accelerating further, there's no gap by which you can expect price to fall. One of the secrets to the reformed approach of trading the market is the relationship between SPY here on the y-axis and the data that is being measured on the x-axis, right? So in other words, it's the relationship between the price that's illustrated in the yellow, the net calls that's illustrated in the green, and the net puts that's illustrated in the red. Relative, all of that is relative to SPY's price, volume, and time, and net call premium and net put premium. And so that XY axis lets you see different kinds of relationships. Like, oh, we're out, like, you'll see that many times, like, businesses will use XY graphs, right? X and Y graphs to, like, show the growth of their business. Because what they're doing is they're measuring one point of data with time and thereby drawing it on a graph, on a linear graph, you're able to visualize the relationship a little bit better, and it like comes to life in your head. You understand? So one of the secrets to understanding the reformed way of trading using unusual whales is understanding that everything is on an XY axis. It's not just candlesticks like this where you're just like guessing patterns. Everything is on an XY axis, so the patterns are there. You don't have to create them in your head. You don't have to guess them. They're right there on paper, and it comes to life. That's what an XY graph does for the data. That's why many businesses will use XY graphs to plot their growth, right? Where they need adjustments, where they have weaknesses, what time, what seasons, right? And then they even use that to also compare to historical data. And that's why on the market tide, you're able to go back 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, right? And you're able to compare it to historical data. And what that does for you is you're able to spot trends. For example, April 13th, April 14th, and April 15th were all big green days. That tells you that, hey, you know what? Whatever volume was met that day, right? Whatever volume threshold was met that day, next time we see that volume threshold met, we know to buy call options. So in other words, the next time we see volume over, whatever, what is this, 2 million? Yeah, you definitely want to buy some swing call options. You want to buy like some weekly call options, right? So that's what an XY graph does for you. It's not just candlesticks where you're just looking at like, patterns. You're looking at actual data that comes to life because it's being measured against metrics like volume and price, all relative to time. And so that linear graph makes a lot more sense. You're able to see things like the price to premium gap, where positioning is outpacing price, right? You're able to see trends in volume. And then you're also even able to see like just the overall progression of patterns and positioning. For example, one thing that I've learned is net call premium is far more volatile than net put premium, which is why when I say for a bearish setup, you don't necessarily want to see puts being bought, although it may be like a pretty good sign. But when you start seeing calls being sold, that's really a really, really good sign for bearish positioning. Because when you look historically, even on single names, but especially SPY, whenever net calls are being sold, those are the days where SPY really does feel the bearish pressure. And you'll see that on those days, it's not particularly that net puts are being bought, but it's the amount in which net calls are being sold. And that is what causes the bearish pressure. If you look carefully, even on the 0 DTE, I believe, if I'm correct, let me take a look. No, I think I'm incorrect on that. Yeah, but on the market tide for today, let me take a look at that and see. It looks like, well, yeah. Uh, Thanks a lot, Spire. You're not really helping my point right now. But the point that I'm trying to make is that you'll see that there are different kinds of patterns that happen on the XY chart. And that is why it's so important to understand things like the price to premium gap theory. 75 EMA, yeah, I haven't really, I'm kind of stuck in my old ways with TradingView just simply because I haven't even used it in a while, right? So like these are all like settings that like I learned when I was like fresh in trading. Wow, that was such a good lesson there, guys. I really, really hope that you understood that. Looks like net volume is hitting a new low of the day. Price could accelerate and also hit a new low of the day, guys. Let's check out market maker exposure. Hey guys, so there's that acceleration that I was talking about there. It just manifested right in front of our eyes, guys. Right in front of our eyes, right? So what I saw there was net volume hit a new low on the daily market tide, right? Over here, net volume hit a new low. Net negative volume is at negative 600K, 700K. Now remember earlier, guys, I did say when we were at negative 500K, I said usually when we cross 500K, it usually goes to a million. Now, if we can get some accelerated net calls with participants like UNH or CAR, then or and Google, then I think we can accelerate really, really low. But right now, it looks like there's just not enough negative net premium on the overall market tide. Net call premium is staying positive. It's fallen from like highs of over 100 million, so they sold a lot, but it's just not, they just stopped selling for some reason. So price could kind of like just stall for a little bit, so just kind of be careful, you know? Especially here on the zero DTE, they did stop selling premium as well, right? Again, that reinforces my notion earlier of price. Once it fills that price to premium gap, it'll just bounce off of that net call premium. Unless net call premium begins to accelerate even further lower, you will see that there will be no price to premium gap. And so since there will be no price to premium gap, price is going to just kind of just bounce off of that premium there. That is another notion, another theory that I would say, I have coined for sure, 100%. I have coined myself, but it's something that I do. I'm not saying that it's an A plus, thing or anything like that, but I want you to check that out, right? Like next time you see that happen, be it a support or a resistance, once price catches up to that premium, you'll see that price will just kind of trade in tandem with that premium if that premium does not continue to accelerate further in the direction that it was going. In this case, bearish. So unless we see a new low of day for net calls or price gaps up, right? Like bounces high and net calls stays low, we may not get another price to premium gap like we did here at 715 and again here at 815, right? So right now it's just pretty choppy. Just stay out of SPY. Let's look at some notable flows and kind of see how we can get some swing trades going. So right now, just kind of just waiting, just chopping. I'm kind of looking through the Discord right now on my phone. So I'm just gonna keep Periscope on my screen. Um, See how that helps. Did anyone get in on that spy trade? Because that was such a plus setup, dude. I did record that too, so So there's price bouncing off of that 0 DTE net calls, right? Again, there's that theory, guys. I'm gonna scream it in your ear until you get annoyed with me and cancel your subscription. No, I'm just kidding. But you know that is what this reformed approach does. It gives you a visual of what to expect based off of what is actually happening in the market, right? It comes to life. You can see now price is bouncing off of that premium. Once that premium stalls that selling, there's going to be a little bit of buying and selling. It's just going to stall, you know what I mean? And price is going to do that as well, right? So there's that bounce there. Now on the chart, it looks like it's forming a base. If it does form a base, guys, watch carefully for there to be like a recovery, right? So let's watch it because net puts are also kind of like excuse me, net volume is also kind of getting moving towards positivity, right? So ooh, there's a big bounce. Wow, what happened there? The hell? Is Trump talking? All right. Only reason I bring it up is spot is bouncing off of it right now. Oh, the 75 EMA. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'll have to check that out. 75-day EMA, huh? Yeah. Send it in the Discord if you have like a link to it or something. That'd be helpful. Okay, here we go, guys. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. It looks like SPY is bouncing off of that net call premium, just as as I've been teaching you all morning. Um, but again, I wouldn't like go long just yet. Let's check out Periscope. Yeah, fought for that 7100 positive gamma, right? Right, 7100 positive gamma. It fought for that, right? And wow, big big bounce. Jeez. So daily market tie. What happened to my alerts? Who turned off my alerts? Wow, net calls 200%. Do you guys see that? Net calls increased by 200%. So guys, here is a ooh, but be careful. Hold on. News just dropped. Vance has not departed for Iran talks. I don't know what that means. But okay. Guys, this is what I've been teaching you, right? So the net call premium alert, excuse me, the market tide alert on the Unusual Whales platform. So again, guys, this is what I've been teaching you. The market tide alert on the Unusual Whales platform is great for SPY because what it does is it measures the percentage increases for net calls and net puts. So here, if you can take a look, and guys, I have built this into the Discord for you. So if you don't have Unusual Whales, you're getting these alerts. It's in the Net Flow Alerts channel. What that does, ooh, it looks like that news is bringing down SPY about Vance not going to Iran. But anyway, um, if you can take a look at that, right? So again, I'm going to start over, right? So Unusual Whales market tide alerts, right? So what I love about this and trading SPY is it allows you to see how much net calls has dropped in the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and 15 minutes. Not only how much it has dropped, but how much net puts has either increased in the opposite direction, or vice versa, how much net calls has increased in the last 5, 10, or 15 minutes relative to how much net puts has decreased, hopefully, if you are bullish in the last 5 to 10 or 15 minutes. Now, here's the key. When you are looking at the market tide alerts for the Unusual Whales platform data, what you want to look for is changes of 100%, be it positive or negative. I'm going to say that again. When you are looking at market tide alerts for the unusual whales market tide, you want to look for net calls or net puts changing at a rate of either 100% or more. So in other words, like here 10 minutes ago, it has changed in the last 10 minutes, if you will, for over 273% net calls, right? And that is why we bounced the last 5 minutes, right? Because net calls changed by 200%. It bounced 200%, right? So what you want to do is you want to take note of how much these, there's another alert, how much these calls and puts are changing every 5 minutes. And you can set that up so that it alerts you every 5 minutes. I have set that up in the Discord so that it alerts you every 5 minutes. So what you want to do is you want to take note at the most recent time, which is the 5 minute. So when you see changes, either calls or puts of either positive or negative 100%, you want to go ahead and take the trade that favors that change. For example, if this was negative 180%, right? Like it says calls negative 18%, but let's pretend it said 180%, negative 180%. That would mean that they sold calls by negative 180%. And that would be a really, really good trigger or a signal for you to buy put options and expect price to fall, because that change in the net calls being over negative 100% will trigger a price reaction relative to that alert, in which case would be, net calls being sold. So that is how you want to use the unusual whales market tide alerts. And I have built that into the Discord, right? So you want to just look for changes of net calls or net puts of either positive or negative 100%. How can we interpret here? I'm gonna take a look. Okay, wow. What's happening? Looks like news. News happened? Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Market tide. Market tide. Market tide hasn't changed. This is news. This is news, guys. Market tide hasn't changed. Spies fall. Spies falling. Spies falling, but market tide hasn't changed. So um, there could be a snapback. So just be careful. Got some lunar call options. Lunar call option spike. Whoa, 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 guys, what's happening? Okay, lunar's up 4%. Gamma exposure. We're looking at 30. Let's go to gamma. I'm gonna get to your question real quick, man. I haven't forgotten. Let's look at gamma by strike. We're looking at 30. We're looking at 30. What's the normalized gamma? Normalized gamma. We're trading at 28. So we go to 28, and then yeah, 30 has 24% normalized gamma. So lunar can squeeze, guys, to 30. I don't know. That's $2, $1. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, right? But lunar can squeeze to 30. It's up 4% already today. We're getting some alerts on that. Market tide's hitting a new low. They're selling calls by 20%. I'm not chasing it. I'm not chasing it, right? So I'm just gonna wait and uh, and check out some other things. Wow, SPY hitting a new low there. Well, a new low for that candle. Not quite a new low. But again, the next support is 70.75. This negative gamma is 70.90. It keeps moving to the right, like positive gamma. Um, so it's not quite accelerating the price like I want it to. So I'm just going to be careful. I'm not going to take another trade, right? And there's no price to premium gap here. I want to see a price to premium gap. I want to see them sell calls so hard that net volume hits a new low of the day. And that's not happening right now. So I'm not going to chase the downside. I'm going to go ahead and check out some flows, some flows, some flows. Microsoft is probably already up. FFI, FFAI. Ooh, we're seeing some. Whoa! What the? Super squeeze here. FFAI. I'm not going to mess with that. Okay. Your question was, how can we interpret Amazon here? Let's see. 0%. Well, you can't really interpret it because it just means that it was up 2%. Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, so it was up 2%, but they sold 10 mil. Yeah, so let's take a look. Sorry about that, guys. Wait, can you guys hear me still? I thought I closed out on you. Yeah, it looks like I'm still connected. All right. Yeah, so Amazon, it's up with negative call volume. Yes, my mistake. So yeah, let me take a look at that. So Amazon, it's up with negative net call volume. There's a net positive gamma. That's the first thing I see, and it's well supplied with liquidity, right? It's well supplied with liquidity. The put to call GEX ratio has been positive all month, right? So that's another thing. And then look at the net gamma. It's squeezing. It's squeezing to over 260. That's what it's going to do. It's going to squeeze to 260. And the reason why it's going to squeeze to 260 is because the normalized gamma is going to be outstanding at that level. Right now we're at 252. Let's take a bet on it. 252. Okay, 3%, right? Anything 10 strikes below, I'm not even seeing 1%. Oh, here's 2%. Okay. So 10 strikes below, there's not much, outstanding normalized gamma exposure. But 10 strikes above, you see 260 at 16%. 16% is going to be the next level for Amazon. But let me take a look at what you were saying, which is the net call premium. Yeah. So you're seeing net calls, but you know what's happening here is there's not a lot of volume. There's not a lot of participants. These net calls are simply just people who are taking profit from here. I've realized that when you want to see bearish action, you want to see negative net net volume like this. Like this, you know what I mean? Now, here you saw a ton of positive volume, right? But these net calls are typically, look, it's not weighing in on the stock because there's not a lot of participants. These are millions for sure. They're millions, but they're likely like big size, or excuse me, small size, right? Small size contracts, but millions. So that can happen where you'll see that net calls will drop, but price will stay afloat. Hang on, guys, I gotta grab my charger. Yeah, so with Amazon, um, it looks like market makers are just having their way right now. That's genuinely what it looks like to me. Everything is positive. Look at this open interest, everything. All of this right here, directionalized volume, all of it is positive. That means that all the flows for gamma is all positive. So this net calls, with it not having a bunch of participants like volume, um, it's just not gonna have a big effect. I mean, yeah, it did have some selling happen here, but overall, price is probably going to stay afloat because this net positive volume at over what 100K is really enough for price to kind of just like stay afloat, right? That volume is the bid to ask. It's going to keep the bid to ask for Amazon like high, if you will. So that's what's happening there. Oh, SPY is kind of seeing some volatility here. Let's go back to Periscope. So, guys, I got about 10 more minutes. I'm going to just stay on for about 10 more minutes, and then that way, but I do want to do this every morning. I really do. I want to do this every morning, and like, I have the capability to, do it every morning at market open, probably even pre market. So, I'm going to just pray that I get, like some time, and you know what I mean? And that way we can hop on here and really get some good trades and really bank, and really learn most of all, but while we're learning, we obviously don't want to lose money. We want to make money. So, but we want to be responsible with that money as well. And we want to be disciplined, and we want to be grateful, what I mean, that we have, such a way like this to make money, what I mean? And that's what this server is all about. So it's about learning and really like applying it to yourself. You know what I mean? Like you really want to just like take whatever I give you as a tool and just what I mean, and just add it to your arsenal, you know? And I've seen people do that. I've seen people do that and they've made a lot of money, and I'm so happy for them, and that's why I'm here and that's why I keep it cheap, so that way, we're all able to capitalize and really learn something that could benefit us all for, the rest of our lives, so this is pretty cool. Right now, price is just kind of chopping, which is why I said I just stay out of the trade because I'm not seeing that net calls are being accelerated like that. In fact, we just had puts being sold really, really hard. Puts just got sold really hard. And so price might pop a little bit because what that's going to do for the zero DTEs is it's going to make the net positive volume move in a positive direction. For example, it just moved from negative 96K to like 65K, right? Negative 65K. So now it's seeing some volatility because you're not seeing, the money actually participating. All you're seeing is a net positive move in the volume because they sold puts. That might be a little bit confusing for you if you're brand new, but yeah. So right now I'm just staying away because net calls on zero DTEs are not accelerating price like that. Periscope, that positive gamma is going to fight. You know what I mean? Unless this negative gamma here at 70, 90 like grows positive. Or excuse me, if it grows more negative. If it grows more negative, then I could expect price to accelerate down to 75. You know what I mean? 70, 75. But if it's not growing, which it looks like it's not growing, it's just kind of chopping, which by the way, yesterday we had the same price action. We had a large move, right? We had a large move yesterday and then chop, 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 chop. So with positive gamma here, guys, and negative gamma here, and then some more positive gamma here, yeah, price could just kind of chop between this like 20 point, mark, 30 point mark, if you will. That's just 20 points, right? So between 7100 and 7080, because 7080 area has negative gamma, but then 7100 area has positive gamma. And right below that 7080 negative gamma is more positive gamma. So price is just kind of struggling in this area right here. It's just going to kind of chop a little bit between that positive gamma here attraction and that negative gamma support, or excuse me, that positive gamma support here with some negative gamma in between. What that's going to cause is a ping pong all day long, right? We had a nice move from 40 to 7100, 40-point move, but now we're just going to chop within the 20-point range. And if you want to go ahead and scalp that, that's doable, but not in my opinion when you have, stalling of net call premiums and things like that. Okay? Another 5 minutes here. Any last questions, guys? So how do we analyze the net flow tie data? Oh man, I just went over that. Did I go over that right now? Did I answer that? I'll tag you in. I'll tag you in some stuff. But here is how you want to analyze it. Um, with net flow, I went over a lot of stuff this morning, and I recorded it. Oh, I recorded it. I recorded the live. Hopefully, I can get it to you. Right? Hopefully, I can post it. and then that way you can kind of listen and stuff like that. We took a live trade. If you're just joining, we took a live trade, and it ran to, I want to say about 30%. I got out at about, I think it was like 19% or something like that. It was a poor execution on my part, but it was a beautiful read, beautiful read on my part. And if you were able to join us with that, you probably learned a thing or two. I know I did. Every time I trade, I learned something. So yeah, if you're just joining, that's what we did today. And then we also went over some really cool um, analysis here with the price to premium gap theory with the net flow, which I think Sid was asking about. Yeah, you can look at the recording. And we went over that, right? And we went over how price can fill that that gap, but then once it fills that gap, it bounces off of that net call, and once price catches up to that premium, right? It will continue to chop unless that premium continues to accelerate in the direction that it first began. So in other words, once from here at 45 minutes after the market opened, we saw that premium was accelerating further down faster at a faster pace. Net calls was being sold at a faster pace than price, right? We saw that there's a gap there. We should have saw, if you will, that there's a gap there, right? Where traders are positioning themselves even faster than where price is trading. So with traders exiting calls and buying puts, and there being a X and Y axis, what that told us is it's almost kind of like looking at a business and saying, hey, we're losing money faster than we are, you know, um, making profit, right? And once you see that gap, it's like, oh crap, the business is going to collapse, right? So again, that analogy was like once net calls begins to accelerate in a bearish direction faster than net excuse me, once net calls begins to accelerate in a bearish direction faster than price, what develops is a gap on the XY axis, right? And the reason why businesses and data charts use an XY axis is because it just brings the data to life. So it almost is kind of like saying like, hey, we are losing money, which is the negative net call premium. We are losing money faster than our business is making money, right? So once we see that on the linear graph and we see the big gap between, the price and the premium, that is what causes the price to premium gap. And the price to premium gap in theory says, hey, if net calls are being sold faster or bought faster than price is going to catch up, aka to that premium. So it's going to move, you know, aggressively into the direction at which that net calls is trading at. In this case, net calls is dropping. So since net calls is dropping, and price was staying afloat, like up here, that meant that net calls was outpacing price. And per the theory, price eventually is going to catch up to that net calls. And then to take it a step further, once price catches up to that net calls, price is going to bounce off of that net calls, be it a support below or a resistance above if it is a bullish day. So like over here, if price would have caught up over here, then excuse me, if premium was outpacing price and price catches up to premium, then premium is going to stall. Even though it's bullish, it's going to stall and just kind of chop, right? Just flip this chart right here, and that's what you get on a bullish day, right? So that's kind of like, the really, really fast one. But hopefully, like I'm able to get the full breakdown for you on what I said today. Hopefully the recording worked and everything. I want to thank you guys for, joining. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you added something to your arsenal. Hopefully you caught that trade, most of all. And if you didn't, we have some really good, notable flow alerts, over here that can really, give us some A+ setup. So that's what I'm going to be looking at for the rest of the day here is some notable flow alerts. And again, hopefully I want to do this every morning, maybe a little bit even earlier, like at pre-market, and just go for like, 3 hours. So let me know, if you guys were able to, grasp anything from today's live. All right, guys, you guys have a nice one.